The Oakland A's have decided to play the next 3 seasons in Sacramento until their Vegas ballpark is supposedly built. And while I think it's a stupid decision and an incredibly short-sighted decision, no, there's no counterpoint. I think it's an incredibly stupid and short-sighted decision, and I'm going to talk about that in today's video. Listen, I'm sitting here. We're 3 weeks from the draft, and I'm enjoying making mock draft content. And I came into today expecting to make a mock draft today just because I had it on the mind. And then Stephon Diggs got traded. I thought that would be a great topic to do. Where the Bills go in the draft. I think they could have potential to trade up to a spot like 7 or 9 and draft Rome Odunze, if you will, in the top of the first round. But I felt it would be a disservice to me as a YouTube channel and to what I believe in as a sports fan to not talk about the Oakland A's playing their next 3 seasons in Sacramento while they wait for their Las Vegas ballpark to be built. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So to start out, I've made a whole video about the A's having a chance to stay in Oakland if the Vegas ballpark fell through. I'm going to link that in the top of the description. I highly encourage you to watch that video before I get in too deep into this to understand my stance on the move overall. But in short, I'm a New York Yankees fan. As you can tell by the hat, the jacket, and all the memorabilia in the background, I grew up in the Bay Area. Spent most of my life living in the East Bay, going to the Oakland Coliseum to watch A's games, whether that's versus the Yankees or the Red Sox. My dad's a Red Sox fan, or even I've been to A's Reds games. You could name, I mean, several other games outside of just my favorite teams. I grew up watching baseball in the Bay Area in Oakland, and sure, a couple times in San Francisco, but in Oakland, in the Coliseum. And the move to Vegas is despicable because the city of Oakland, sure, they could have done a better job retaining the Raiders, but the Warriors were going to San Francisco because there was no restriction from them doing so. And the A's now, the city of Oakland couldn't have done better, in my opinion, in their negotiation. And shout out to Mayor Shung Tao for her leadership in this. I think she played negotiations well, and I think at the end of the day, did what she could for the city of Oakland. But you're doing a disservice to the fans in Oakland. It's a money grab by Fisher and Caval, the owners of the Oakland Athletics, as I'm going to call them for the rest of time. This is not as simple as moving a team because their fans don't respond, right? I think there's been a lot of backlash to like the Seattle Supersonics moving to Oklahoma City. But I think in retrospect, if we can look back, maybe an expansion team should go to Seattle, but I feel good about the move to Oklahoma City because of the fans that they built there. And they've had now multiple eras of success there between the Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden era, even though that didn't result in the championship, still a finals appearance. And then now the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren era. You feel good about that move. That was a move that was made because there just weren't drawing enough fans, right? The Vancouver Grizzlies moving to Memphis, um, Washington the Washington Senators moving to Texas, right? You could go on and on. There's a list of moves like this that I think made sense. The Oakland move doesn't make sense. The Oakland move to Las Vegas is a situation where ownership does not reinvest in their team, does not reinvest in the facilities, the players, the development, the analytics, the support staff, you name it. And fans eventually got tired of it. And now the blame is put back on those fans. And so that's what that video is about. I don't want to talk too much about why the A's moving to Las Vegas is despicable, because it is. At the end of the day, it is. And that, like I said, that video will be at the top of the description if you haven't seen it already. I want to talk about the Sacramento portion. So if you're not familiar, obviously the stadium in Vegas is not yet built. And my microphone keeps syncing. Hopefully this doesn't mess up my audio here. The stadium in Vegas is not yet built. It hasn't even been started. It hasn't even been approved to build on the Tropicana site yet. We only have renderings. And so the lease at the Coliseum is up in Oakland, and the Vegas Stadium is probably not going to be done until 2029 or 2030. In my opinion, probably 2030, 2031, if it does get done in Vegas, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And so they needed a place to play. And at the end of the day, I thought Oakland presented a fair package that included a relatively simple deal, including one, that the A's sell their portion of the Coliseum, which they need to do anyway. Two, They gave concession for Oakland to find and present new expansion ownership, because at the end of the day, MLB is expanding to 32 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. And so Oakland, with the A's moving, wants a head start in finding that ownership group that could be a part of the proposal to bring an expansion team to Oakland and build at the Howard Terminal. And the third condition was that no, maybe that was it. I'm forgetting. But anyway, um, overall, I thought it was a fair deal. The city of Oakland presented that. The Oakland A's rejected it. At the end of the day, the Oakland A's decided that they were better off spending the 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 years before the Vegas stadium was built, playing in the Sacramento River Cats Stadium, the AAA of the San Francisco Giants. And the stadium is tiny, like 10,000 fans. Uh, the uh, amenities, if you will, for the players are absolutely poor. I mean, we saw it with the Toronto Blue Jays. So when COVID was, kind of in the midst of the pandemic, and the Toronto Blue Jays couldn't go back and forth without having some kind of quarantine period, they decided to play their full season in Buffalo, which is where their AA affiliate is from. And the amount of renovations they had to do quickly on that stadium to make it major league acceptable, it was astronomical. And even then, the product was not great, especially on TV. You could really tell, but I'm sure you could tell if you went to the ballpark. There wasn't fans at the ballpark, so it didn't matter all too much. But um, things like heated locker rooms, things like video and extensive video in the clubhouse, things like mother's rooms for the family of the players. These things are things we don't think about as fans, but the players are sure as hell going to realize. And for those fans, for those players to either not have that, or the Oakland A's to have to scramble to renovate another team's stadium, I think is absolutely strange. That's the first layer. Second layer, um, the difference in money here is about $30 million for 3, maybe 5-year deal. Let's say 3. Let's be conservative here and let's say 3. So that's about $10 million a year. Now, I don't remember off the top of my head what some MLB salaries look like, but I'm going to pull it up. MLB team salary, team payrolls. And I'm going to look up individual MLB players by salary. So MLB 2024 payroll tracker. So keep in mind about 10 million a year. So for reference, the Oakland A's payroll is $61 million for the 40-man roster. For reference, that's the lowest in Major League Baseball. The next lowest is 83, so 20 something million higher. That's Pittsburgh Pirates. And the highest in baseball is the New York Mets at 308 million. So 5 times that, right? More than 5 times that. In terms of what that 10 million a year means for like a player, right? If we look at players making roughly 10 million a year, there are at least, as we currently sit, we're down to 167 players making 10 million or more a year. So roughly 167, that's roughly 5 players per team make more than the A's are willing to sacrifice. Players that make 10 million. Manuel Margot, backup outfielder for the Minnesota Twins. Christian Vasquez, backup catcher for the Minnesota Twins. David Robertson, reliever for the Texas Rangers. Yusei Kikuchi for the Toronto Blue Jays, who's, I mean, basically back of the rotation kind of guy. I mean, you could go on and on. Jeff McNeil, Harrison Bader, Jorge Polanco. Okay, no, that's a bad example. He's probably paid less than he's worth. Chad Green, Aroldis Chapman. Like, I don't know that I need to go on. It's Mark Canha. Mark Canha, the former Oakland A, is being paid $11.5 million for awful production for the Detroit Tigers. No offense to Canha. I mean, it's very early, but his season last year with the Brewers was not good. There are guys up and down Major League Baseball. I mean, Anthony Santander, Avisail Garcia, Taylor Rogers, Anthony DeSclafani. A guy who's not even making the Minnesota Twins rotation is getting 12 million a year. And I don't mean to slander these guys. I mean to say that this money, James McCann, 12 million a year, catcher for the backup catcher for the Baltimore Orioles. Uh, I mean to say that the A's are so cheap that they decided, you know what we're going to do? We're not going to play the next 3 years in Oakland in front of the fans that gave us everything for decades. We're going to move to Sacramento for 3 years, uproot our players, uproot our fan base, completely change the course of both our and the San Francisco Giants minor league organization. We're going to destroy the fans we have left in California by moving early. Before we even get to Vegas, before we even have a finalized plan to go to Vegas, there's a real shot, now that we sit here on April 4th, 2024, that the Oakland Athletics never moved to Las Vegas. They don't have an approved plan by the city or by Major League Baseball. They have an approved move by Major League Baseball, not an approved plan to build a stadium. And if this Tropicana site falls through, they are screwed. They are royally screwed. But in the meantime, let's screw the fans over too, right? Right, Fisher? Right, Cavill, whatever your name is. I don't give a crap. So you're moving to Sacramento for $10 million a year. You're destroying your legacy in Oakland. This is not a case of the Raiders when they moved from Oakland to LA and they had still the fan base to where they can move back to Oakland and then to Vegas. That's another conversation. This is a situation where the A's are never coming back because they already destroyed their fan base not spending money on this team. And now they're destroying their fan base by treating them like crap. And I didn't even mention the fact that they spiked up ticket prices last year, despite slashing payroll and trading anybody with relevance. I mean, Jesus Luzardo, Frankie Montas, Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, Marcus Semien, James Canna, Starling Marte. I could go on and on about guys that they let go, their core that they let go. I know I'm missing guys, and I just can't. Sean Murphy, that whole rotation. Who am I missing? Chris Bassett. You could go on and on. Yuri's Familia out of the bullpen. Guys that the A's got rid of because they were poaching talent, but more importantly, poaching payroll. And so now you sit here, you slap the Major League Baseball fans in Oakland in the face and say, we're going to Sacramento. And sure, they'll sell tickets in Sacramento because it's 10,000 seats in the stadium. It's a novelty. And there's no baseball in Sacramento right now. No Major League Baseball in Sacramento right now. But it was really indicative of the viewpoint of John Fisher, the owner of the A's. His clown behavior when he sat up on the podium today after the announcement that the Sacramento stadium would host the A's and said, this is going to be one of the most prized tickets in baseball. I'm roughly quoting. I can't wait to see guys like Aaron Judge hit home runs in this stadium. I'm a Yankees fan, right? I can't wait to see Aaron Judge hit home runs in that stadium because it'll be fun, right? I'm a Yankees fan. Aaron Judge, number 99, the captain of the New York Yankees. John Fisher owns the team that would be giving up the home runs. John Fisher doesn't own the Yankees. Aaron Judge doesn't play for the A's. So when you sit here on a pedestal and you say, I can't wait to see guys on the other team hit home runs in our stadium. I can't wait to see other teams crap on our chests. That's what you're saying. Why? Because he only cares about this, the bottom dollar. It's just a perfect indication of his stupidity. Stupidity. The unmitigated gall he has to completely disregard everybody that works hard in that franchise. The fact that the A's continue to post things about the move, turning off social media comments, is cowardly. Because Fisher and Caval and their burner accounts on Twitter can't handle the criticism. But you have the unmitigated gall to sit up and say, I can't wait to see guys like Aaron Judge hit home runs in our stadium. And this is not like a situation where maybe guys will come to the A's. No, no, no. The A's aren't increasing payroll, and Aaron Judge is locked in until he's 40 years old. The self-deprecation of your franchise, your once lauded franchise, who won 3 in a row back in the 70s, who not that long ago was competing in the playoff. I mean, 2019 was in the AL wildcard game. 2020 they were in the playoffs. I mean, COVID shortened season and wider playoff group, but they were not bad not that long ago. And for them to go from that to this and now to play in Sacramento, it is a clown show by Fisher. And now you got rumors and conspiracy theories about guys who are wearing Last Dive Bar bracelets. And if you're not familiar with Last Dive Bar, it's a account on Twitter, but also a group of people who are one in love with the Coliseum as the last dive bar in baseball, but also proponents of sell the team, the motion for John Fisher to sell the A's. Rumors that guys who wear those bracelets, players who wear those bracelets, are being sent down or benched. You have that going on. Just keep stirring the pot, Fisher. It's great. Great for you, sure. Not in the long run. Not great for baseball, not great for Oakland, and not great for the Athletics. And so we sit here with the A's going to Sacramento for a few years. And I think, as I mentioned, there's a real chance that the Vegas plan does not come through. And where are they going to go from there? They can't go back to Oakland. You ruin that. So where are you going to go? You going to stay in Sacramento full time? You going to go to Salt Lake City? The best chance the A's fans in Oakland have, and I'm going to end this on a higher note. The best chance the fans in Oakland have is that when the A's move to Sacramento temporarily and the Vegas plan falls through, and or the A's move to Vegas, whatever the case is. One, either the Vegas plan falls through and MLB decides they've had enough and forces John Fisher to sell the A's to someone who hopefully moves them back to Oakland. Two, if they do move to Vegas successfully, that because of this whole, a bloodbath of what Fisher has done to the A's, Major League Baseball grants an expansion team back in Oakland. And we have a situation similar to the Cleveland Browns, where the Browns moved to Baltimore after the Colts left and became the Ravens. And then they brought back an expansion team to Cleveland and called them the Browns again. Or similar to the Hornets, Charlotte Hornets moved to New Orleans, became the New Orleans Hornets, and then became the New Orleans Pelicans, and then they they expanded, added the Bobcats, and they eventually became the Hornets again. I think there's a very, very small % chance that could happen, but a chance nonetheless, and that Oakland gets an expansion team, and that city gets the naming rights and the colors of the Oakland A's back. But one, they would have to have a really solid plan about building at Howard Terminal. Two, John Fisher would have to continue to embarrass himself, which if you just sit there long enough, he'll do it himself. You don't have to worry about that. And three, Major League Baseball would have to have faith that the city of Oakland would be sustainable for baseball long term, which that's the major question. So that's the hope for Oakland fans. But I just want to sit here and say that even though I'm a Yankees fan, even though I've never rooted for Oakland against the Yankees or against most major league teams, I sit here with A's fans in solidarity and say, one, I hope John Fisher sells the team. John Fisher, if you're watching this, sell the team. Two, hopefully there is brighter days for Oakland baseball ahead. I know it may seem dark, but you just have to hold out hope. And three, this whole thing is not the fault of the fans of Oakland. And if you watch the end of this video and you get something positive out of the A's moving to Sacramento, you need to sit next to John Fisher himself, because that's where I think he belongs. Because at the end of the day, this is just a calamity for everyone involved. And John Fisher looks like a clown. The fans in Oakland are disgraced. And Major League Baseball, hopefully we'll do something to fix it, but I severely doubt that. That'll do it for this Quick Thoughts video. I hope you enjoyed It's therapeutic to get out a little bit, even though I'm not even an A's fan. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think the A's moving to Vegas is a mistake? Do you think the Sacramento part's a mistake? I could hear arguments that the A's moving to Vegas makes sense. I could hear it. I don't think that there's logical reasoning behind it. I'm not hearing an argument that Sacramento is a smart move, and I'm honestly going to remove any comments that say that because I don't think there's anything reasonable. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I appreciate the support. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe as well. Peace out.